Hi boys and girls, this is Karen from the Roy Center. Today we are going to talk about airplanes because they're super cool and lots of fun. And then we're going to get into folding our airplanes and doing all sorts of cool things with them. But today, before we start folding, as I said, we're going to talk about them. I don't know how much you guys know about airplanes already. I'm sure you know quite a bit more than I do, but there are 4 forces that work on an airplane all the time. And the first force that we're going to talk about is called weight. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard that word before, and weight basically just means how heavy something is. So how heavy an object is, how heavy I am, how heavy you are. Weight is how heavy things are. And airplanes are really quite heavy because they're made out of mostly metal. So all the weight that an airplane is made out of pulls it down into the ground. And so that is one force that works on an airplane all the time. A second force that works on airplanes all the time is actually opposite than weight. It's called lift, and it pulls the airplane up. Now the way that lift works is because of the shapes of the wings of airplanes. They make airplane wings specifically to be curvy on the top of the wing so that the air will flow over it, and then they make the bottom of the wing a little flatter and a little bit more bent so that when the air comes through, it pulls at the very end and pushes the airplane up. And that's pretty cool, right? I didn't know that that's why the wings were made the way they are. But that is why lift is pulling airplanes up. So the third force that we're going to talk about and that works on airplanes every day, all the time, is called thrust. Now, thrust works because of the engines that they put on the airplanes. So have you guys seen those little airplanes with the propellers on the front that go round and around and around in circles? That is part of thrust, and it pushes the plane forward. But another kind of engine for airplanes that are a little bit bigger are called jet engines. And the way that a jet engine works is it pulls all the air in through it and then pushes it out super fast behind it, so that all that fast air going behind it will shove the plane forward. And that also works with vehicles. And a good example of this that you guys could do at home if you wanted to is to blow up a balloon and make it really big, nice and full of air, and then just let it go. And I'm sure you guys have done this before. What does the balloon do when you let it go? It goes everywhere, right? That's because of thrust. So the same thing that works on the balloon is working on airplanes. Pretty cool, right? But because we have something pulling the airplane down and something pulling it up and something pushing it forward, we also have a force that pulls it backwards. And this force is called drag. Now, the reason that drag works is because of something called surface area. Best way for me to explain this to you is to give you another example. Let's say you're riding in your car and it's really nice and warm outside, so your parents roll down the windows. And what do you do when the windows are rolled down? You carefully stick your hand out, right? I do that all the time anyways. And you'll notice that if you have your hand straight like this, it's pretty easy to move your hand around. There's not a lot of surface area for the wind to blow on. But as soon as you start turning your hand to go more like this, your arm goes all the way back here, and you're like, I can't move it. I can't move it very easy at all, right? So then you have to start moving your hand a little bit more like this again so that you can move it around. And the reason your hand goes back this far when you have so much area is because of drag. All the air hits on all of your hand and it gets really easy to push it far back. And the same thing can apply to planes if they're not made correctly. So if an airplane had a bunch of metal panels that were sticking straight up on it, the airplane wouldn't go very far very fast because all the drag would be pushing it backwards. But because they make airplanes nice and shiny and sleek and smooth, the air just rushes right over that airplane, and the airplane can go super fast because there's hardly any drag pulling it backwards. So that's pretty cool, right? The 4 forces that are always working on an airplane: weight, lift, thrust, and drag. Awesome, so now you know a little bit about airplanes. All right, we're gonna start doing our folding now. And I'm gonna start with making this airplane because it's the one that I know how to make easiest. And after you've made an airplane like this, I'd like you to kind of experiment with it and see what you can do to change how it flies. You could cut some pieces out of it, or maybe add longer wings, or do whatever you want. You could add objects to it. But I want you to play around with it and see what you can do to make it fly differently. Okay? And remember, boys and girls, if you don't have some of the supplies, so paper, if you don't have a blank piece of paper, that's okay. I used magazine papers before, and they work just fine. But before you go and tear your mother's magazines, you better ask her that it's okay, okay? So make sure it's okay that you're using the paper you're using. All right. So the first thing that you are gonna do in order to make this plane is you are going to fold your paper in half like a hot dog. Okay, so the long ways, make sure both sides match up, and then you're just going to press it down flat, just like that. Okay, so remember, doing it the long ways. Then you're gonna open it up all nice, and you're gonna notice this line down the middle. You'll need to keep track of that line, okay? The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna focus on the top corners. Start with one, and you're gonna make the top of this paper match the line that you've made. All right, so take the corner and put the top to the line that you made, just like this. Okay, so remember, take the top corner, press it down just like that. Now you're gonna do that to the opposite corner, okay? So you're gonna take the top, make it match up with the line down the middle. Just like that. And it's okay if your folds aren't completely perfect. Mine aren't either, and the plane still turns out, so it's all good, all right? So once you've got this part down, the next thing you're going to do is turn the whole paper over so you can't see those triangles anymore, all right? And remember to notice where your line is down the back, because now we are going to fold on that line backwards, okay? So you just fold just like that, okay? So it went like this. Now we're folding it just like that. Good job, boys and girls. Okay, the next part you're going to do is face it towards you so it looks kind of like this. And then you're going to make this part of the paper, this top part, and you're going to take this little corner up here, and you will bring all of that to match down with all of this, okay? So you're going to bring down the corner, all of that match with all of this. Just like that, okay? All right, once you've done that, you're gonna do the exact same thing. You're gonna make all of this line right there match all of this line down here, okay? So let's do that. Awesome. You are halfway through the paper airplane. So now we are just going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. We're going to take this part and make it line up with the bottom of the airplane. And now we're gonna do the same thing, make this long part match the bottom of this airplane right there. Just like that. Okay, so now you are gonna open it up, and these little flaps that you just made should open up, and there you go. A nice little airplane. And remember, with this airplane, I'd like you guys to play around with it. Cut into it a little bit, or tear the wings and see if they do anything different, or you can fold them up if you'd like. Do something fun that will try and make it fly different. Maybe it'll fly faster, maybe it'll fly slower. You'll just have to try things and see what happens. All right, now that was the easier airplane. We are now gonna get into a little bit more challenging of an airplane, but if you pay close attention, I'm gonna try to go super slow. And remember, boys and girls, just like in the last video I made, feel free to pause it at any time or go back and rewatch something if it didn't make quite sense. You can retry things as many times as you need to in order to get it, okay? All right, so you'll need a piece of paper again. Funny that you need paper for paper airplanes. All right, the first thing you're going to do in order to make this airplane is you're gonna focus on the top corners again. So choose a corner. I'm gonna start with this one, and you're gonna bring it so that the top of the paper matches the side straight, okay? So you're just gonna bring it over just like this so that it matches the side straight. And then you're gonna fold it just down the side. All right, make sure you make a good crease so that when you open it up again, you can see a nice line down the middle, sort of. Not really middle, is it? All right, next you're going to take the corner that has the crease through it, and you're gonna bring it all the way down to the other end of your crease. All right, and that should make it flat with the other side of the paper right here. And you're just gonna make a crease. Just like that. All right? So now when you open it up, you should have a nice X in the middle of your paper. See? Okay, the next part you're gonna do is make a straight line straight through the middle of the X. Okay? The best way I've found to do this is either to try and match up these corners with the end of your lines, or to just try and make it straight in the middle. Okay, whatever works best for you, you try and do that. All right, gotta make a nice crease. There we go, so now we have a straight line through the middle. Perfect. Okay, this next part is a little bit tricky, so try and pay attention. Remember, if you need to pause the video and go back, that's okay. You're gonna take these two sides of the straight line that you made through and bring them together, okay? You're gonna hold them together just like this. All right, now, the easiest way that I've found to do this next part is to try and hold this part flat and just push down the paper, okay? You might have to make the very point at the end a little bit pointier, and then you're just going to straighten out those creases that you made with the X before, okay? So just make it flat with the table. Then you're gonna take this bubble part and bring it down to match with the other two corners that you've made. Okay? All right, I'm gonna do that again just so that you know what you're doing. So this is the part that you're holding together, the middle of your X, remember? And then you're gonna flatten these parts so it stays down. And then you're gonna push down that bubble and hold it and flatten these parts so that you have a nice triangle, okay? Hopefully you're with me so far. Okay, the next part you're gonna do is focus on this rectangle bit. you are going to fold the bottom of the rectangle so that it matches up right there, okay? So it'll be basically folding the rectangle in half. Just like this. Okay, see how I folded that in half? Fold it up. All right, this one you're gonna wanna crease quite a bit because you're going to tear this little part off, okay? So if you need to, you can use your nails, or if you don't have a whole bunch of nail to use, you can try and use like a pencil edge and just try and get it super, super creased, okay? Because now what you're gonna do is you're gonna fold it backwards. So you're gonna fold it backwards and crease it again on the other side of the paper. Just like that. The more you crease it, the easier it will be to tear. And if it's not tearing as straight as you would like, that is okay. Just go back and try and crease it a little bit more and it will tear a little bit easier, okay? Now, for this plane, you're gonna want to keep this piece of paper to the side because it will make your tail of this airplane, okay? So keep your piece of paper because you'll want it later. All right, so now what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the paper back so that you can see your triangle piece again. And you're gonna focus on these corners at the very end. What you want to do is take each corner and bring it up to the tip of your airplane. So we're gonna do that right now, okay? So bring that corner up to the tip of your airplane, just like that. Okay, up to the corner. So this corner now comes up to this tip, right here. Just like that. Make a nice crease. Okay, this is again where it gets a little tricky, but I know you can follow me along, okay? So, the best way that I found to do this is to turn the airplane towards you. You're gonna focus on each little triangle separately, okay? So, first thing you're going to do is take the top tip of each of your triangle and bring this edge, so the one that is closest to all the rest of your paper, touch it with me, and you're gonna bring that edge down to the middle of your triangle, okay? And you're gonna make a fold right there. So again, bring the top edge of your triangle and make a fold so that it matches with the middle of your diamond shape. Okay, now you're gonna bring it up and you're gonna take the other side of that same triangle, the other side, and bring this side so that it matches straight down the middle of your triangle again. Okay? All right, now you're gonna open it up and you will see a nice little X. Okay? What you're gonna do is the same thing you did with your other X. You're gonna take the top part of your X and hold those pieces together. Put them down into the middle of your triangle as close as they can be together. And then you're just going to squeeze this little triangle so that it's flat and so that you can push it up to the tip of your plane. Okay? Hopefully I went slow, but if I didn't, we'll try and do it again with this other side, okay? So, now we're gonna do the same thing. You have this nice big triangle right here, and I'm gonna focus on this side first, the side that's closest to all the other paper, And I'm gonna bring this side of the triangle down to the middle to be flat. All right, just like that. Now I'm gonna open it back up. And we're gonna bring this side of the triangle to be flat in the middle, okay? That side did not want to bend as easy. All right. Now you're gonna open it back up so you can see the full triangle again. And look, we have an X again. All right, so you're gonna take the two top corners of your X and push them down to match the bottom of your triangle. And push them together, as close together as they can get. So that then there's a little triangle that's poking up, and you are gonna flatten that triangle piece. And then you're gonna point it and fold it up towards the top of your plane. So just like that, okay? All right, so now, once you've got that part down, you're gonna flip the whole plane over so that all you see is a blank place. And then you're gonna bring the tip of your plane back until you can see the two little triangles that you folded earlier. Once you see those triangles, try and get them flat on the table. Depending on how thick your paper is, it will be either easy or a little bit harder. You want all of the triangle to show, so it looks a lot like this, okay? And once you've done this little bit, you're actually gonna fold your entire plane in half. So you're gonna take it in your hands, fold just like this, so that both of the sides match each other. Okay, so it looks like this. All right, you are almost done. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna focus on this little triangle right here, okay? You see this top point that it makes? You're gonna fold this entire wing down to a line right there, okay? I'm gonna fold it so that the corner is the top. I hope that makes sense. Here you go, just like that, okay? So you fold it down. Now you're gonna do the other side. You're gonna find that little triangle. You're gonna take the top corner and fold the entire wing so that it's that corner's height. Okay, so now it looks a little bit like this. And the last part that you're going to do with this part of your plane is you're going to take the bottom of each wing and fold it up just a little bit. Okay, so now you've got this little tab that's folded up. You're going to do the same thing with the other side. You're going to fold just a little piece. There you go. All right, so that is that part of the plane. And this part actually flies really well by itself, but if you want it to look a little bit cooler and to have a tail, then you can start doing this part with me, okay? So you'll take that piece that you ripped off earlier, and you're gonna fold the whole thing in half, like a hot dog, okay? It's gotta be long. Fold it like a hot dog in half. Make a nice crease. All right, the next part you're gonna do is you're gonna take like an inch of the end, and you're gonna fold it in to the other part of the tail. So it looks kind of like this. Okay? All right. You're gonna unfold that now, and it gives you a perfect line, and you're just gonna make a tear halfway through this paper. Not all the way, because you still want it to be attached. Just halfway, okay? So just like this. See that little tear I have there? All right, so now with that tear, you're gonna fold each side of the tear down so that it's made a half. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the other side. Fold it down in half. It's gonna look something like this. Okay, so now with the rest of your long tail, you're gonna do the exact same thing. Fold it down in half so that the top of the paper touches the bottom of the paper. And then you take the other side and do the exact same thing so that it's all one size again. And then with this long part that you've just folded, you're gonna fold back up. And this is a little bit of a tricky part because the fold is so small. Kind of have to move your hands along and try and fold it as small as you can. And it's okay if it doesn't fold very well. It won't matter too much because you're just gonna stick it in your airplane. Now you do it with the other long side, okay? You're gonna fold just part of your plane up. So it looks a little crazy. And then you're gonna put these little flaps open again. So it looks like this. Now what you're gonna do is take the long piece, and there's a little pocket for you to stick in your airplane where you're gonna take your tail and open it up just a little bit, and you're gonna stick it straight in that little pocket. Okay, so just straight in just like that. Okay, and then you can just fold the whole thing. Oops. Fold it just like that, and there you go. Okay, so now you have two kinds of airplanes that you can play with, and you can even go onto YouTube and find even more types of airplanes and try and fix them or make them fly faster by folding things or by cutting things maybe. You try a whole bunch of different things, and I bet you'll have a whole bunch of fun doing airplanes. Okay, thanks for coming and for watching. Hopefully you got to make your two cool airplanes, and I hope to see you next week. Bye!